There's many characters in Superman and Lois, some absolutely great ones and some, So today, we're gonna be reviewing every single Superman and Lois character and rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Now right away, the first character we're gonna look at is Jordan. Now I'm not gonna lie to you guys, in the beginning of season 1, I hated Jordan. This guy was given the gift of a lifetime and all I could hear is complaints. In the beginning of episode 1x3, you can hear Jordan complaining to his dad saying, I don't want to keep it a secret, I want to tell them that I have powers. Like, dude, are you you good up here? You good? And then fast forward a couple episodes after that, in episode 1x6, Jordan is trying to play in this huge football game, right? But Clark tells him he shouldn't do it, it's too risky because, you know, they might find out about his powers. And then the day Jordan's about to play, he gets some crazy headaches, right? But he doesn't tell his dad, bro. And hey, what do you know? Jordan was being dumb. He couldn't even control his powers on the field. He had to burn his poor dad's hands just so he could contain his powers. So far, it's clear that Jordan does have great powers, but he's very careless and isn't very smart in the head. But now, fast forwarding a bit into season 2, things do turn around quite a bit. Season 2 is where Jordan really becomes, you know, mature, nice, smart, all that good stuff. First off, he's taken the role of being his father's sidekick, so he's always there for his dad, right? Like in the situation where they took Morgan Edge to his little base and then he actually had to fight Morgan Edge because he was trying to escape, like that was great. And on top of that, he went behind everyone's back and went to his grandpa to get some secret training so he can really become the best of his ability. And hey Jordan, I know I've been so rude to you so far, I'm sorry, but hey, you know what? That's commendable, that is respectable, bro, good for you. And hey, the training pays off big time because when his mother and his grandpa were going to investigate like some secret kryptonite lab, they accidentally actually got captured and then a big bad like evil villain guy shows up about to shoot him in the head when his son Jordan shows up and saves the day. So technically, if it wasn't for Jordan, right now Grandpa Sergeant Lane would be the way the audio cuts out, the way everything goes silent, the way he dodges it, oh my lordy, what? So finally, to give Jordan a final rating, I would say he deserves something in the 7.5 range. In season 1, he was just being a big dummy. In season 2, he did mature quite a bit, but he still has those dumb moments where he's like, why can't I just do this? Oh, dad, you know what I'm saying? Plus, to be honest, I'll explain why later, but I actually prefer Jonathan better. So yeah, Jordan, look at me. If you're watching this, I don't care. I don't care if you're watching this. You get a 7.5. Cry about it, sweetheart. Cry about it. Now, the next character we're gonna look at is Sarah. Now the reason I wanted to do Sarah next is because she does the exact same thing as Jordan. Like, I don't know if you guys felt this vibe, but entirely in the beginning of season 1, she was so overly rude to her parents and they were nothing but nice to her. Nothing but nice. For example, this scene right here where she simply gets into the car, her mom asks her how her trip to the doctor's was and she snaps on them and she just Hulu, carta. And the weird part was she was completely different to her friends than to her family. Ew. Like, you saw the way she talked to Jordan or Jonathan, she was all nice, flirty, oh, hey, you know what I mean? And while we're on the topic, let's actually talk about it. Sarah technically cheated on Jordan in season 1 when she started like blatantly flirting with Jonathan, easy, out in the hallway, easy. I know the show kind of brushed it over, but literally she was into Jonathan. Like, she is into the other brother as well. Bro, this girl is for the metropolis streets, bro. That is where she belongs. And sure, a lot of you guys can argue, hey, she had mental health problems, she had this. Still, you show respect to your parents, bro. Now, the entirety of the first season is kind of spent like that, and then in the beginning of season 2, things only get worse. Sarah went off to this camp, right? So she was like in some camp and then she returned and she seemed very distant from Jordan, her boyfriend at the time. She didn't want to meet up with him as much. She was canceling plans on him. Everything was getting a little bit mysterious. And then we find out the reason behind that was because, well, she kissed another person at the camp she was at. She literally And once again, the show just tries to make it like a friendly, like, oh, it was another girl, so it's fine. It doesn't matter. Oh, why is nobody talking about this? This girl literally just cheats on everyone, bro. She just... Wait, did she kiss Jordan while she was with her, like, ex-boyfriend that was, like, black? But now, moving a couple episodes down further that, we find out a really big detail. We find out that Sarah isn't the only cheater in our family because, well, her father, Kyle Cushing, also cheated on his wife. But here, where you expect everything to go wrong, she was actually very understanding of the situation. Sure, when it first happened at her quinceanera, she was very distraught, very upset, I understand. But after she takes some advice from the girl she kissed and, you know, she thinks about it a little bit, she actually realizes that, you know, well, everyone is a little bit broken. And she sort of forgives her dad and goes back to him, starts hanging out with him, giving him second chances, helping him move into his new apartment by himself, helping him decorate his room. Like, she started like realizing that, hey, even though he is a cheater, he is my dad after all. So you know what, Sarah, as much as I've been bashing you the entire season 1, season 2, you do have a little bit of goodness in you. but not good enough because you're getting a 5 out of 10. And that's me being generous. You don't deserve anything above a 5. The entire 2 seasons, you've just been a headache to everybody. A big headache to everyone, bro. The only reason I even gave you these 5 points was because you were there for your father, and I love Kyle. I love Kyle Cushing, okay? So take these 5 points and now get the hell out of my face, okay? Before I cheat on you from camp, okay? That made no sense. What am I saying out of my mouth? What am I saying here? Now for the next character, let's actually keep things in the Sarah family and talk about her mother, Lana. And I have a lot to say about her. So if you guys made it this far in the video, make sure you subscribe, okay? Subscribe right now. Because me, Kosher Reacts, wants to hit 100K very soon, okay? Let's get there. Let's go. Now from the start, what I want to say is Lana was a very good mother from the very beginning. She was simply a woman living in a broken household, and she was doing her best to fix everything up. Kyle Cushing was an alcoholic, Sarah was like some depressed girl, and Sophie was too small to even understand what was going on. But still, Lana persisted. She advanced her careers, she advanced her social life, and she was doing the best she could. But I do think in all fairness, in the beginning of season 1, she could have listened to her husband a little bit more. To me, it seemed like she kind of shoved him off a lot of the times and just kind of like nudged him in the back and kind of wasn't putting him as her first priority, which is, you know, completely fine. Do whatever you want, but don't be surprised when he goes around cheating on you because you don't spend time with him. But yeah, besides that, Lana actually kept a very open mind, because even after in her job Morgan Edge gave her a great position, she was still skeptical about everything and helped Lois discover the truth behind the mines. Like, I know most of us in that situation getting a great job offer that nobody in your city gets, we would just be sitting there like this. Hey Morgan Edge, what work do you want me to do? Anything for you? Yeah, I'll do this. Yeah, that. Yeah. But Lana didn't even care about that. She cared about the community as a whole, which is wow, great. Mwah. And a couple episodes down after that, we see that she's a very brave character because she actually volunteered to be the experiment when Superman needed someone to use the incinerator, right? Because it would be a way for him to contact his mother. So knowing things could go very wrong, she still took the risk and just like, yes, let me do the test. I can do it. And yeah, a lot of people in Smallville gave her crap. Hey, why'd you make us believe Morgan Edge? He was a bad person. Hey, screw you, you're on his side. But looking at it from her point of view, she was simply just given a job and she was doing the job. It's not like she was like siding with him, you know? So I feel like people are going a little bit too crazy on her. Now moving on to season 2, things only get better for Lana, because in the very first episode, she actually starts running for mayor. She goes up against this other super corrupted mayor who does all the shady tactics in the book to kind of get her out of the voting, but she still pushes through. And on top of that, the whole time while she's running for mayor, she also finds out that she was being cheated on by Kyle. Oh my gosh. Like, at this point, you really have to feel sympathy for this girl, bro. She's trying to be the best person for her daughters, best person for her household. She's trying to be the best person for her community by running for mayor, and this whole time she's getting cheated on. Oh my. Oh, like when I first watched that scene, it genuinely like broke my heart. This is very like saddening. But this shows how strong of a character she was, because she still pushed through and won the election and became mayor of Smallville. Yeah. So guys, everything's been a big green check mark so far. Season 1, great. Season 2, great. But unfortunately, near the ending of season 2, she does something very stupid. Very dumb. Lana, sweetheart, you were so close. I would have given you the 10 out of 10. Why'd you do this? Why? Now, if you're wondering what she did that was so stupid at the end, let me explain. In episode 2x14, when Superman finally goes out to Lana and reveals to her that he is actually Clark Kent, she's a little bit stunned, right? But she's not actually mad at Clark, right? She's mad at Lois Lane. She literally starts ranting to Lois and basically ended her friendship with her because apparently their friendship was built on a lie. While Lois argues back and says, well, hey, it really wasn't my secret to tell. Clark is Superman. Shouldn't it be up to him if he wants to say it? And I completely agree. It is not her fault that he didn't want to tell her. What the heck? What? Watch the clip for yourself.
You've been keeping this huge secret from me.
It wasn't my secret to share.
But you knew, and I didn't, which means our entire friendship was built on a lie. There's nothing real between us.
Now, I want you guys to actually go in the comments and tell me which side you would pick. Would you pick Lois's side or would you pick Lana's side? Because clearly I'm picking Lois's side. Hey, I'm mad at you because your husband didn't tell me he was Superman. I hate you now. Like, what? So that part right there was a little bit dumb, but overall, I would give Lana a rating of 9.2 out of 10. She still deserves a great rating. Let's see if any other character can beat that rating, because that is wow. I will come back to Lana's husband, Kyle Cushing, a little bit after, but first I want to talk about Lois Lane. Because as you guys know, Lois is actually a reporter and Iris West is also a reporter. This should be fun. This should be, yeah. Now to start Lois off, I think she was a very good citizen from the beginning. From episode 1x1, she just wanted to be a good citizen and a good wife. She was always there for Superman and she defended him against her own dad. I also called her very good looking, but nobody agreed with me, so let's push that off, I guess. Does anybody here think she's good looking at least? Maybe? No? I don't know how to explain it, but she has like that Caroline other mother like like look. It's like, hey, other mother, hey. I'm sorry, back to what I was saying. We also find out that it's very sad, and she's been a very, very like depressed character in the beginning because she actually had a miscarriage with her daughter that she was supposed to have. And it further shows how like compassionate she is because she doesn't want to lose another child. So she's truly giving her all to her two boys, Jordan and Jonathan. Also in season 1, Lois Lane is one of the only characters that combats against Morgan Edge's plans. Lois seemed to be the only character with enough open-mindedness to be like, wait, let me step back for a second. Why is this happening? While everybody else like Kyle Cushing was just like, hey, there's more jobs, more money here. Come on, Morgan Edge. So she definitely gets some more points for that. Good stuff, Lois. Now in the beginning of season 2, for some reason, she gets very sensitive over her children. And there was this instance where Jonathan had one of his girlfriends over, right? And Lois Lane caught them, so she literally called the ELT. She called Superman in an emergency meeting just because Jonathan had a girl over. Okay. Okay. But this season further expands on her motherly character, and it just shows how good of a mother she is and how she can discipline her children very well. Just watch this clip from episode 2x7.
I am so pissed. And trust me, Jonathan, your father will be too.
She put fear into their hearts, literally into their hearts. Do you see their eyes? If she talked to me like that, I don't know. I don't know what I would do. So she's definitely a better mother than her mother, who we find out actually abandoned Lois when she was only 8. Wow, Lois having a traumatic childhood but still raising her kids with such great discipline truly gives her some big points. And let's also not forget that Lois was actually the one that reached out to her sister Lucy and tried to make amends with her once again. But of course, there always has to be something bad. I can never have one good season. I can't. And right now you guys are probably questioning, Kosho, what's so bad? Like, what did she do wrong? Her job. She did her job wrong. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Lois Lane is actually not a good reporter. Let me explain. If we asked Iris West Allen from The Flash what it takes to be a good reporter, she would say, a good reporter is someone that simply informs the public about news. That's it. That sounds simple enough, right? Just give people the news. That's it. Just give the people of Smallville the truth and the news they need to hear. But unfortunately for Lois, there are many instances where she doesn't do that.
It's our job to warn people. It's not our job to create panic. We don't get to curate the news.
So in this clip, Chrissy, Lewis's co-worker, is talking about how the two different worlds are about to merge and like Ali is the one controlling it all. We should tell the news, right? We should tell the entire public what's going on because the worlds might literally merge together any second now. It's gonna be crazy. But Lois fires back and says, hey, we shouldn't create panic and we should not tell the public about this. Basically, she wants to cover up, right? She wants to cover up the news because she doesn't want to create panic or whatever personal reason she might have. Now, me and you might understand why she could do this because she's like, hey, Superman will just deal with it. We don't have to create the panic, right? He'll just deal with it. It'll be done. But if you look at the situation truly, ethically, morally, professionally, it is all wrong. It is wrong in every aspect. Lois is literally hiding the news from people. She is hiding the truth from millions and millions of people. And well, you know, whatever reason she might have, I can't respect that. I can't. But still, I think my final rating for Lois Lane would be 9 out of 10. She is still one of the really good characters in the show. Because without her, her family would literally fall apart and Superman would fall apart. Like, she is such a big rock for the entire team. I think she just needs to really reevaluate her being a reporter and what it means to be a reporter. And hey, it looks like she's taking the right steps because in the final episode of season 2, she actually tells Chrissy that Clark is Superman. So, hey, go you, Lois, go you, okay, go you. Now moving on, since I just talked about her, we might as well just quickly get her over with. Let's talk about Chrissy, aka Lois Lane's co-worker and right-hand man. Now to me personally, Chrissy has always given off like a very judgmental, like annoying vibe. Maybe it's her short hair that just gives her that look, but there's something about her that just seems very like irritating, you know? So straight from season 1, episode 1, I always thought she was a little too judgmental about everything, and she's very weak-minded because in season 1, she was easily brainwashed by Morgan Edge and whatever he was doing. Even after a lady came forward and said her son was like an employee for Morgan Edge and now he disappeared randomly, Chrissy was all like, hey, he might have just went missing, he might just not be here, blah 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 blah, like, are you dumb girl, are you dumb? And well, in season 2, she does the exact same thing with Ali, the exact same thing. Ali showed Chrissy this one little video in like the big press conference and that's all it took for her to be brainwashed. Next thing you know, she's having tea in her house, bro. How are these people supposed to be your enemy and then you just have tea with them to dick? What the heck? But yeah, besides her weak-mindedness, you can actually tell tell the main reason she does all this like judgmental pushiness is because she actually genuinely wants to be a big good reporter. And the main reasons she would ever have fights or get angry with Lewis is because of secrets Lewis was keeping from her. So I mean, I understand. So overall, Chrissy Wake Up gets a rating of 6 out of 10. It's okay. It's like pretty bad though. You're weak-minded, you're super judgy, you're a good reporter, but that's all you have going for you. That's it. Plus, I'm just a little bit salty that she gets to find out the real identity of Superman. Like, why do you even deserve that? Why do you deserve that? Wait, can we really talk about this for a second? Can we talk about it for 1 second? Chrissy is not close with any of them. Like, Lewis and Chrissy aren't even that close in my opinion. Why does she know like the world's biggest secret? What do you... Yeah, Coach Hay, is there anything in here? Huh? What the heck? Now moving on, the next person we're going to be looking at is John Henry and his daughter Natalie. Now from when John was introduced, we figured out that he was actually a super secret spy that was actually trying to kill Superman, right? And while a lot of you may think that's like a bad thing to do, he's obviously a bad villain, blah 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 blah, he's actually a good guy in my opinion. If you look at it from John's point of view, this man, the face of Superman, is the guy that killed his wife and broke his entire family apart. So obviously if you come to a different world and you see the exact same man, obviously you're going to want to kill him. You're going to want to kill him. Like, I don't know why it's so crazy to comprehend. This is an evil guy according to John Henry. But we find out John Henry is actually a very strong and family-oriented character, because after he gets closer to Lois Lane, all the kids, Clark Kent, and he finds out, oh, Clark Kent is Superman, at first he still wants to kill him, but in episode 1x12, when it really comes down to it, he doesn't kill him. He pulls back. Now that is saying a lot. That is saying so much. Imagine you're looking directly at somebody that killed your wife, ruined your entire family, ruined your entire marriage, and you don't shoot them or you don't harm them. That is overly low. Wow. So he's definitely getting some big points for that. Wow. Now on top of that, moving into season 2, we see Natalie actually comes to his Earth and he does everything right. He tries to give her a normal life. He tries to give her a family with Lewis, Jonathan, Jordan, all those kids. And he does his best to keep her out of danger by not letting her like help him too much, by not letting her build that one suit she was trying to build. All of it was great. And I will say in the season 2 finale, he is the one that actually jumped into the portal to try to save the entire world. And he's also the one that was okay with letting him and Natalie sacrifice themselves to save the entire world. So me personally, I truly don't have anything bad to say about him, obviously, except besides season 1 when he was against Superman. But like in his mind, he was technically doing the right thing, you know? John Henry, you're a great father. You look hot, you look bald, you look great. I'm giving you a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah. But when we look at your daughter, John, Natalie isn't, she's not the best. So she makes her entry in season 2, so let's only look at season 2. I mean, obviously. What am I saying? Am I crazy? Am I going crazy? Because I'm recording this at 3:45 a.m.? Now, Natalie starts off in season 2 very rude. Like, imagine coming back to your long-lost dad and just showing attitude the entire first episode. This is probably the most annoying thing I've seen in the entire show. How are you gonna come to a new Earth and then complain that nobody knows you? Obviously, nobody knows you, sweetheart. Nobody knows you here. And the one person you want to complain about your problems to is your father that's been missing you for a very long time. Okay. What is with these spoiled kids in the show? I feel like they've had so many spoiled kids. They just need like a good little, you know? Yeah. Now, eventually, after she befriends Sarah and she becomes friends with the brothers, then she does get a little bit better, you know? She becomes a little bit more normal, happy in her situation. But then we'll have instances like episode 2x10 where we find out that this was the day that Natalie's real mother, Lois Lane, had died. But now get this, she gets upset at her dad for forgetting the day. What do you want us to do? You want us to have a 1-year anniversary of your mother's death? What are we doing here, guys? What are we doing here? It's like she wants to keep getting hurt. She wants to have the hurt inside of her so bad that she can't even forget her past. And poor John's over here trying to like figure his life out, you know, do better for himself. And Natalie's here like, by the way, our mother died 1 year ago today. You care about that still, right? Why aren't you crying about it? Cry about it. Like, what do you... But there's finally one good thing I can say about this character, which is at the end of season 2. In the season 2 finale, she actually came up with the idea to transport the X-Kryptonite from her and her dad's suit into the safety pod so that it could stop the two Earths from merging, knowing that this could very well kill them. You know what, Natalie? That actually does take a lot of guts. You literally almost sacrificing your life just for the world. That takes guts. Good for you, okay? Good for you. Look at me, Natalie. Look me in my eyes. You're still getting a 2 out of 10, okay? A 2 out of 10. You are the worst character in Superman and Lewis. The worst. You know what? It's okay, because next we're gonna move on to Morgan Edge, the big bad villain of season 1 and the redeemer of season 2? Now, Morgan starts off as a typical evil guy, right? But he does have very good reasoning for his evil.
I landed in the British countryside, where I was not greeted. I was hunted.
this clip literally shows that he wasn't wanted by humans at all. He was literally outcasted the minute he stepped foot on Earth. So I mean, to me, it's a little bit obvious why he would want to destroy Earth, right? Like, nobody here likes him, so why like them back? Morgan Edge is basically the Savitar of the Flash. You see the connection right here? Like, this is a connection. You see it, right? The connection, yeah? Now, where I think Morgan messed up, because his feelings were validated, but I think he got a little too overshadowed with his feelings, so his morals were kind of thrown out the window, which you can clearly see when you literally see him beating up Jordan, a little kid. Your beef is with Superman, bro. Why are we beating up kids? But we can take this even a step further and say, even though he was a villain in the first season, technically all he wanted to do was reunite with his family. Because as we find out later in the show, this is the only Earth where Clark and Morgan aren't best friends. In all the other Earths, like Allie's Earth, Clark and Morgan are literally best friends, best brothers, they do everything together and they love each other. But still, obviously, it was very wrong and the way he did things was just very, very immoral. But it seems like he learned from his mistakes in season 2 when he actually helped Clark destroy the pendant that Allie needed to merge people. So to summarize Morgan Edge, I'd actually characterize him as a good character that was just a little bit misguided. Plus, guys, come on. In the end of season 2, he literally got the boys trucks. Come on, trucks. So to give Morgan a rating, I would actually say Morgan Edge is a 9.5 out of 10. He was a really, really good character that played his part very well. A character that knew how to play a great evil villain, but then also create a beautiful story arc and make great progression in season 2. Mwah. Mucho gracias, Malau. Now the next two characters I'm going to talk about, we're going to talk about some sergeants. Yes sir, yes. The first sergeant we're going to talk about is Lois Lane's dad, Sergeant Lane. Now right away, season 1, dude cares way too much about his job, okay? Like, chill out, buddy. Like, in this instance, he literally tries to kill Tag, a child, just because he escaped a school with kids for powers. Wow, he escaped, let's kill him. Okay. And he also has a very weird, skewed way of parenting that nobody appreciates. And as we see from this clip, we find out that he was a very horrible dad to Lois Lane.
And I honestly, naively thought that once I had a family, you might change. Start putting us first. But I was wrong.
It seems like this guy had a problem with the way Clark parented, the way Lewis parented. He literally didn't want the boys to have any freedom whatsoever, just because they're a special family. They should be locked away. Like, sweetheart, we're in 2022, buddy. Keep up. But thankfully, next season, he turns things around as soon as he retires from his job as a military sergeant. He brings together Lewis and his sister Lucy, and he even secretly begins training Jordan to improve his power. This really shows that deep down under the thick military skull, the hard, there is a sweet, loving, family-oriented character. So concluding Sergeant Lane, I will say in season 1, I really didn't like him. He was just being way too over the top, very annoying, ruined Lewis's childhood. But in season 2, he really prioritized his family, all the good stuff, all that mwah. He did everything right in season 2, in my opinion. Which is why Kocho over here thinks Sergeant Lane deserves a 7.8 out of 10. So like, just above average, you know, because season 1, I hated you. Season 2, I liked you. So like, you know, meet in the middle, 7.8. That works. Now the next sergeant we're gonna be looking at is Sergeant Anderson, aka the sergeant that was hired in season 2. Now if you guys couldn't tell, Anderson was actually very selfish throughout the show. Literally within the first episode of him entering the show, he literally says, hey, maybe Superman shouldn't be, you know, helping these people out because it goes against politics. Like, okay, Top Shot, you're gonna tell Superman how to do his job? You're new, buddy, you're new. But yeah, he never wanted to listen to Superman. He didn't want to hand over the pendant that Superman wanted. And when the DOD first found the reverse Superman, instead of calling Superman, they called on these 3 little superhero kids, which, what do you know, got most of them literally killed. Like, their necks got snapped, buddy. Snapped. If you thought that was bad, he actually ends up just completely betraying Superman and having him arrested for treason. What are we doing here, bro? What are we doing? Like, imagine being on the same team as someone and, like, you know, always being on the same side, DOD, Superman, staying on the same side, and then all of a sudden one day you just get locked up in a red room and shot. And we found out the reason he arrested him is just because Superman didn't want to tell Anderson where reverse Superman was being held. And let's not forget the part where he legit broke into Morgan's home base and legit drugged himself to fight reverse Superman and the rest of the people just so he can prove a point. I mean, technically he did end up killing reverse Superman, but at the end of the day, warrants were made out for his arrest and he was kind of deemed like a psychopath. So I don't know, you did the right thing, but in a very illegal way by stealing a bunch of illegal weapons, illegal drugs just to kill one guy. You did illegal things to kill someone illegal. Can a lawyer comment on this video? Who wins here? Who wins? Lawyers, hello? Lawyers, help me out. But thankfully, after a while, near the ending of season 2, he does redeem himself just a bit. Because after going to the other world, he realizes Ali is truly evil, so he actually ends up teaming with our Superman. He gives a beautiful apology to Superman for not believing in him, and he vows to to team up with him to put things to an end. This shows that even though Anderson was just, a little bit cuckoo up here, he was still a logical and rational man to like accept when he was wrong. And you know what? Once again, Kosho here has to respect that. I have to respect it. Just like if you guys told me, hey Kosho, I'm sorry for not subscribing yet, I'd be like, hey, you know what? It's fine. Just do it now. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. Sergeant Anderson, you get a 7.2 out of 10. You partially made up for all the bad things you did at the end, but it's still not enough to give you anything above a 7. Now the next character, since the last two characters have been super like serious and deep, let's take a light break and just talk about Lucy, Lois Lane's sister. This one should be nice, fun, easy. Let's go. I'm gonna speedrun Lucy because she's not like terribly important to the show, but basically she's a very naive character, which is why she fell for Allie's brainwashing in the first place, right? She clearly needs guidance in her life and isn't even grateful for Lewis, even though she raised Lucy when their mother left them at 8 years old. At 8 years old. Hello Lucy, hey, what are you doing? Can we talk about this? Like what are you doing? And then on top of that, she actually tries to blame Lewis for their mother stepping out, even though Lewis was only 8 when she left. Once again, imagine actually thinking that an 8-year-old caused someone to leave. How does an 8-year-old make somebody like step out? If they were gonna step out, they're gonna leave regardless. But near the ending of season 2, she does do a little bit of good, because when Allie finally shows her true colors and attacks Lucy's dad, Sergeant Lane, she finally realized she was in the wrong. She was the wrong one, not Lewis. And hey, I guess that counts for something, but clearly not for much, because you, Lucy, get a 3.2 out of 10. Literally, you're all the way in the back. Get out. Now moving on, since we did just talk about Reverse Superman a couple characters ago, we might as well just talk about him now. Let's talk about Reverse Superman now. I don't think he was given an official name the entire show, so I'm just gonna call him Reverse Superman, okay? Reverse Superman, Reverse Flash, Reverse Kosho, okay? Reverse. Which, by the way, there's actually a Reverse Kosho in my comments now. There's actually a guy named Reverse Kosho. But anyways, Reverse Superman shows up and he says he's here to save the world from Allie. And he actually does end up following through with that and only hurts people when they attack him first. And there's many instances where we can see that this was actually true. He was actually only going after Allie, because at this point in the story, he was one of the only characters that knew Allie was truly evil and he knew what she was gonna do independent. Now eventually he does end up dying to Anderson, like I mentioned before, but we end up getting a great reveal of his actual backstory and seeing where he came from and why he is the way he is. In this episode right here, it's fully dedicated to showing us the backstory of this Superman and how he lived his life. As you can see, he was actually a very caring and nice Superman in his household. The problem was actually with the rest of the family. We find out that his son Jordan was actually a very evil person, and he turns and does very bad malicious things, and he actually joins Allie's side. And ladies and gentlemen, that's actually why this Superman wants to kill Allie, because Allie had a hold of his son. So once again, thanks to my explaining, you can see that he is actually a very good guy. Now in order to save his son, he needed to take X-Kryptonite to make him go faster, which is what deformed his face and made him look all scary and evil, right? So I think the best way to describe it is Reverse Superman being a great guy, his family going a little bit off the tracks, and then to get them back, he does a little bit of like extreme things like taking bad drugs. But guys, truly the saddest part is finding out Reverse Superman doesn't actually kill Allie. He doesn't stop her. You can see in his eyes how distraught and sad he actually looked, and this face right here just proves to me all I need to know. Now this might be a little bit crazy to say, but I just have so much love for a guy that does all out for his family, so I'm gonna be giving Reverse Superman a solid 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for Reverse Superman. I don't care. Moving on, now we're going to be heading back into the Cushing family and talking about Sarah's dad, Kyle Cushing. Now in the beginning of the show, he was pretty bad. He had a very bad dealing with alcohol, and any negative thing happening in his life would just spiral him into an alcoholic. He missed his daughter's talent show just because he wasn't offered a job he wanted, which, obviously, it sucks, whatever, but bro, you have a whole family to raise, bro. Like, go get back in your headspace, bro. Come on. Moving on, we also find out Kyle is a huge supporter of Morgan Edge, right? Which completely backfires on him when the public finds out Morgan Edge is a very bad guy. So Kyle Cushing took a lot of backlash in the middle of season 1, and this right here is why I feel like the character was done a little bit wrong, because I feel like it really wasn't his fault, Sure, I can sit here and make fun of him for supporting Morgan Edge, but if you step into his point of view, he tells Lana the reason he was doing this is because he wants a better family. He wants to be better for them. The only reason he went to Morgan for a job is because he wanted to be there for his family. Like, can you really blame him for that? So the people spray painting his house, his co-workers ditching him was a little bit too extreme for me. But now here's where his character truly shines through, because even throughout all of this, even when they had ideas of moving out of Smallville, they stayed and they pushed through. Wow. You guys hear that? I think that sounds like more points for our boy Kyle Cushing. Yeah. Now finishing off season 1, he completely quits alcohol, he becomes a better and stronger man, and he truly becomes a capable person for the house. And then going into season 2, in episode 2x2, we see how supportive he truly is of his wife to become mayor, which is just so respectable, because nowadays, you know, obviously like the man has to be like the top guy doing all of this, but here he is having his wife become the mayor. Like, but of course, you know, Kyle Cushing had to mess this up. I couldn't have said too many nice things, because just a couple episodes after that, during Sarah's quinceañera, her Sweet 16, some very, very bad news hits. We find out Kyle Cushing was actually cheating on his wife with some girl at a bar. You were this close. You were this close to redeeming yourself, but now it's gone. Now it's gone. Hey Siri, call Kyle Cushing, please.
I don't see a Kyle Cushing in your contacts.
Oh.
Who would you like to call?
Oh yeah, I don't know him. Okay, never mind. But hear me out, guys. Leading into the season 2 finale, after we find out he cheated on his wife, we can truly see some character progression. We clearly see how much his broken marriage affected him, and I truly did see a changed man. He knows he messed up, and all the way into the final episode of the last season, he did his best to get his wife back. And in the season 2 finale episode, where he was separated from his family on the different Earth, you could truly see how devastated he was being away from his family. And in this exact moment, none of you guys can argue that you don't see genuine regret, bro. Wow. Now, I don't know, guys. I'm not Lana. I'm not a marriage counselor, but me personally, I would have taken him back after seeing how much he changed and progressed. Let me know what you guys think, but me personally, I would have taken him back. So Kyle Cushing, if you're ever watching this video, man. Hey, yo. Kyle Cushing gets a final rating of 8.6 out of 10. Definitely one of the better characters. I just didn't like how in the beginning he treated his family, so, you know. 8.6 out of 10, great. Mwah. Lovely character, but just needs a little bit of work here and there. Now, the last character we're gonna be looking at before we look at Superman himself is Jonathan. Now, the overall vibe I got from Jonathan in season 1 was that he was very sympathetic, but he was very self-centered at times. I also felt bad for him because he's the only one without powers in the entire show, but we also see a very gullible side of him, which we can see when this girl tried to take him on a drive just to get answers. By the way, where is this girl now? Because I saw Jonathan and her had like a fling, and then season 2, a new girl came in. Okay. Now, the second season is where things take a deep turn for the worst, and it starts off with X-Kryptonite inhaler form. This new drug is introduced to the market. It is known as X-Kryptonite, and it's an inhaler drug, right? And essentially it just gives you Superman like strength, Superman like abilities, blah blah blah. And of course, since Jonathan wants to just prove himself all the time, he ends up taking the drug just to be the best. Like, I can't get too mad at him because he's the only one without powers, right? So if you look at Jordan, he's the one crushing in football because of his powers. So I mean, it's okay to kind of level the playing field, but it was just very dumb because you don't really know what the drug is gonna do. Like, Jonathan, how about we just try to get better at football? Like, actually just get better. How about that? But what I can respect about him in this situation is that after he finds out the person dealing these drugs is his girlfriend, he actually doesn't lash out on her. He clearly sees her situation, her living space, and even though she really did betray him, he stayed with her. And stepping away from his girlfriend, typically he's the one that apologizes to his brother. But now moving on later in the show, he makes a very big stupid mistake that costs a lot from him. His school was raided by canine dogs that were sniffing out the X-Kryptonite drug, and Jonathan knew they would catch his girlfriend because she had a whole bag full of it. So he ends up taking the big bag of illegal drugs, and he's the one that gets caught for the drugs. Now, even though that's super cute, so cute of you, so cute, Jonathan, it cost a lot from his life. He lost his reputation, he lost his schooling because he got expelled, he lost a bunch of friends for this, a bunch of things went wrong his way. He also got the entire football season canceled, and all because of one human and her situation. Like, I'm sure there was a different way of things, right? Like, can't he just help her fix her situation and still say it was her? Like, can't we do that? I'm not sure if the show wanted me to like side with him, but I completely disagree with him. I would never ever do what he just did. Stop. And wait, you guys want to know the best part? A couple episodes after that, after his mom keeps asking him who sold the drugs, he ends up telling her anyways. He ends up ratting out his girlfriend anyways, bro. Like, what? You know, I wish you would have done that when your entire life wasn't going to be ruined, but I mean, sure. Hey, at least you did it now. Whatever. And at least thankfully our Jonathan turned out better than the other world Jonathan, because that guy was that guy was something else, bro. Oh my god. Because of all those reasonings, I give Jonathan a 7 out of 10. I really appreciate his sympathetic side, his apologetic, logical side, but then I also really don't appreciate him throwing his entire life away for one girl. Like, but it's okay, because now anyways, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the final person, the man himself, Superman. You know what? Let me say it again. Ready? Superman. Superman. And I just want to quickly say, if I do seem a little bit more tired and my eyes look a little bit bigger, it is like super late, like almost 5 a.m. when I'm recording this, so I'm sorry if I'm a little bit lower energy, guys. I'm really trying my best, okay? But the grind is hard. But it's okay, because I'm here for you, okay? I will always be here for you. I got you. Starting right from the get-go, Superman was always been a great father. He's literally always there for his kids. And hey, matter of fact, Sergeant Lane would actually argue that he's there for his kids a little too much. But I personally think what he's doing is great. I love that he becomes a father first, then Superman. Because we see on the other Earth how important that is. Because on the other Earth, Superman decided to be Superman first, then a father. And well, we see how it turned out. His kids literally just despised him. The one negative thing I'll say so far is he's a little too blinded by love. Because we find out in episode 1x11 that Clark told Lois that he was Superman only a couple months after them dating. Only a couple? But then he completely lashes out at Jordan for wanting to tell Sarah. Kind of hypocritical, no? Kind of hypocritical. Just a little hypocritical. And then another thing I spotted in season 1 is he's very illogical at times. Like for example, take the instance after Morgan was locked up at the end of season 1. Clark told the DOD to keep the 7734 kryptonite weapons instead of burying them. So let me get this straight. There are weapons out there that could literally kill you, and you want them to still exist instead of like disappear. You want them to exist. And his argument is so dumb too. He's saying, oh, I need someone to be there to stop me. But anybody can stop you now. Any criminal can just get their hands on it and just stop you now for fun. They can just stop you any day. If criminals get their hands on these kryptonite weapons, you are no longer Superman. You're just a man with super attached to the front. That's it.
Clark, I'm all about backup plans, but this one comes with major risks and for a reason you've proven isn't a threat.
Like Lewis says right here, I'm all about backup plans too, but this one is just pure stupidity. Now moving on to season 2, Clark keeps a very good fatherly figure throughout the entire season. He actually builds more and more trust with his children. He lets them go out a little bit more. He lets them go to football games. He lets them be a little bit more free, right? And he actually starts appreciating Jordan and his powers, and he starts actually training him, which is great. I love it. This shows as a character, Clark is a very trusting man. If you don't do him wrong like Anderson did, he will be very there for you all the time. Now, not much else happens during season 2 that like dramatically impacts his character, but in the season 2 finale, episode 2x15, something crazy happened that I have to respect wholeheartedly. For context, at this point, Ali is about to merge the two Earths and millions of people are about to die, and Superman does not have any powers. So far, he's been listening to his mother and just waiting around to see if he gets his powers back, but nothing's worked so far. So Superman tells his brother to take him to the sun and throw him directly into the sun. Let me repeat that again. In order to save the world, Superman will throw himself into the sun. Now, if you guys don't know, the sun is a very like million degrees Celsius place. Like you die instantly if you get even close to it, anywhere close to it. Meaning if this doesn't work and Superman doesn't get his powers, he will just die. Superman will end. But as we see here, while Superman is absorbing the sun, his family is truly powering him through it. He sees visions of his kids, his wife, his family, all of that truly empowers him to be strong and get his powers back. And hey, when I first watched that scene, it was truly enough to make, a grown brown man cry. So therefore, as a conclusion, Clark Kent, also known as Superman, I truly do love everything about you. I love how good of a father figure you are, and it truly touches me as a son to, a dad that kind of ran away, right? My dad ran away. Yeah, so, damn, I didn't want to make it that deep, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. However, sometimes you are a little bit illogical, like I mentioned before, so like you can't get a perfect score, but I will definitely give Clark Kent, also known as Superman, a 9.6 out of 10. Ladies and gentlemen, we have officially reviewed every single character in Superman and Lois. Make sure you subscribe.